Five Out Basketball, five segments, five takes. This is the podcast for NBA conversations. This is Five Out Basketball, and it starts in 3, 2, 1.
Everton is actually going to lead the way on this one because he saw an interesting clip the other day. Everton, let's hear it.
So, maybe about a week or two ago, shout out to Gilbert Arenas. He has a pretty solid pod. He has some former NBA players on there. Some of those guys say some very interesting things. Shout out Rashad McCants. There was another conversation they had that I think we'll talk about in a different episode. But for this episode, they were discussing who is considered a mega star or a superstar and a star or whatever, things like that. Their wording was a bit weird, but just to call a spade, before we get into the whole thing, they considered Giannis and Jokic not superstars. Yeah, and
That's
then
so laughable.
But then it gets worse.
Oh God.
When asked, okay, because Gilbert was like, all right, guys who played my position at my time who are superstars, like Steve Francis, and I'm like, Stevie Franchise?
Yeah.
What? Look, he was a good player. He ain't no superstar. And then when they said, is Tim Duncan a superstar? He's like, nah, stop it, bro. I know he's boring.
Yeah. So are we just judging superstars off who has a bag?
I don't know what their representation of a superstar was. I have my own, which is like, look, if you're just really good at basketball, you're a superstar to me. I know I guess it depends on what like context. If you're like, we're talking about music, yeah, your numbers and all that matter when it comes to being a superstar, musician, whatever, or artist. But when it comes to basketball, for me, if you're the best player in the league, I don't care how boring you are, you're a superstar because you're the best in the game. So that's how I feel. What is your, I guess, definition of a superstar?
My superstar is just the best of the best. I can win it when it matters most. Simple as that. Regular season guys aren't really going to be superstars in my eyes. But if you're like in the top 10 to 15-ish range, kind of closer to more 10, and I can trust you in the playoffs, if you can perform there, that's a superstar in my eyes. I think it's that simple. I don't think you need to have a crazy bag, but you need to be able to win when it matters most.
Okay, that's fair. All right, bet. All right, so that was just setting the parameters so people understand. All right, so I'm gonna say this now. The first two names are trolls, so they won't be long conversations. Like I said, first one is Nikola Jokic. Is he a superstar or not?
I don't know. He's a little too Caucasian to be a superstar in the NBA. Yeah, I mean, dude, his bag though. I don't know. Is he hitting them jelly layups? Yeah, is he doing the in between hezzy 360 windmill? No, he's doing this awkward form. 100% superstar. Like, that's such a stupid conversation. That's unreal. Old head hating.
Literally unreal. Because it's hate and it's xenophobia.
Yeah.
Let's just call a spade. That man is a 2-time MVP, fresh off having maybe the best playoff run. Maybe he didn't play the best teams, whatever you want to say, but he played who was in front of him and he cooked everybody and won the championship, finals MVP. Look, I don't know why it's even really a conversation. Jokic is a superstar. He's the best player in the league right now. If not, he's 1, he's 2, whatever.
Yeah, move past.
It's not a conversation.
This is a waste of time.
Second one is Giannis.
Another waste of time.
Another waste of time.
MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Like,
come on.
Is he splashing from half court though?
Run and dunk man is what they call him.
Yeah, Mr. Halfback Dive. The Derrick Henry of the NBA.
Oh my gosh, literally. But those two, now we get those two trolls out the way. Let's have some serious conversations. First one that I think is a bit of a harder one, Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I'm gonna just be honest. No. The NBA wants him to be a superstar so bad, though. They'll tell you he is. They'll tell you he's the next LeBron. It's not proven yet. The Timberwolves haven't done anything yet. They're on the way to. Like, they're the number 1 seed at the moment. They're on track to do it. But we just haven't seen it yet. I'm not saying Anthony Edwards can't be a superstar in the league, but as of, let's say, the 15th, as 15th. Of the 15th, you can't say Anthony Edwards is a superstar yet. I know he has the charisma, and like when you have aura, you automatically get more superstar points. But we haven't seen it yet. Potential, absolutely there yet. No.
I completely agree. I had him as a no as well. I think the NBA is pushing for it. Like they are pushing for the Anthony Edwards, and he has, like you said, he has aura. He has superstar aura.
Yeah.
Let's make that clear. He's had superstar aura since he's gotten drafted, if we're being honest. And he has all the tools to be a superstar. We're talking about a guy who can be a two-way menace, can put up points, highlights for days. Like every time it feels like I watch Ant play, he's dunking on somebody or he's doing a highlight play. So he's on the clear trajectory to be a superstar. He might even be a superstar by next year, depending on how the Timberwolves perform in the playoffs. And even to his credit, his playoff numbers are pretty damn good, you
Mhm.
know? But it's just too early for me to say he's a superstar yet. But he's definitely on his way. And obviously, they want an American superstar. So
Yeah.
let's call a spade a spade. He's gonna be a superstar by next year, the year after. He has all the potential to do it. I just don't think he's there yet until he proves a little bit more.
I agree. I don't gotta add much more on to that.
Okay. So my next one, and I know you're a huge fan of him, so that's why I picked him. Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I am ready to get controversial. This guy would be a superstar if he wasn't in small markets like Cleveland and Utah. Donovan Mitchell is an incredible player. He does it on both sides of the ball, can score anywhere, currently averaging 28 at the moment, but it's more than numbers. I've seen the playoff series he's had in Utah, and he had a little bit of a disaster class in Cleveland, but we've seen bad series before. This guy can hoop. He's got the clutch gene. I have no doubts about that. It's just when you look for superstars, they tend to be on big market teams, unless like Jokic who comes out of nowhere and wins in Denver. But when you're in Utah and Cleveland and you're not LeBron James, it's kind of hard to get the superstar claim. And Donovan Mitchell is a top 10 player in the league at the moment. It's just he's not getting the recognition for it because Cleveland has been so good. But like I was talking about best teams in the East, and I really forgot about them because it's the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh man. Mitchell was a tough one for me. I guess for me, let me just say this. For me, like a superstar, I feel like you have to be one. If you're not top five, you better be like a clear top eight, top 10 player. Like if you're like one of those fringe top 10 guys, then I'm kind of like, are you a superstar? And Mitchell fits all the bills for being a superstar. Like numbers are incredible, highlights are incredible. His aura. How much aura do you think Donovan Mitchell really has?
He had more aura in Utah.
Yeah, okay. I feel like his aura is not
That's
there
a sentence I
anymore.
never thought I'd say.
Which is crazy as never mind. But for Mitchell, the only reason why I'm going to say no, while his playoff numbers are really good, he hasn't gone that far,
Yeah.
right? And it's different because he's not crazy young. With Anthony Edwards, I'll give him a bit of a pass because this is what his fourth or fifth season.
Mhm.
So, it's whatever. And for Donovan Mitchell, one, he's been on teams that have been the number one seed. Granted, it's Utah, but it's still you got to the number one seed.
Mhm.
You play decent in the playoffs, good in the playoffs, whatever. But they always lose, and I'm just like, look, to be a superstar, I can't really, especially this deep into your career, you gotta start winning something. Because I don't even
Yeah.
know if he's been to the conference finals yet. So with that in mind, I'm gonna say no, but I do think he can become. I think he can move himself into that superstar category as
Mhm.
time continues to go on. But I'm gonna say for right now, no, with the thought of I think he is a really phenomenal player.
Yeah. See, mine's kind of be flip off of that. So I'm gonna say Donovan Mitchell's a superstar now, just because like those Utah teams, I want to say they're a little flukish because like they had no perimeter defenders and Donovan
Hmm.
had to be the guy to score. But with how
Hmm.
good Cleveland is, if they can't win now, then I'm gonna retract my statements
Okay,
because like
that's fair.
this Cleveland team, the starting like the bench is, but that
Mm.
starting five is like arguably the best. Like I'm not gonna say it's the best, but it's arguably the best in the league. They have four All-Star caliber players and Max Strus, who's literally the perfect role player fit for what they need. And so this is a year Cleveland has or Donovan Mitchell specifically has to do it. If this team can make an Eastern Conference Finals appearance, I'm gonna retract my statement.
Okay, and I'm that's fair. That's fair to me. If he does do something with Cleveland, I'll move him up to that superstar category. But for me right now, I'm gonna say no. He's like one of them right outside the bar kind of guys.
Yeah,
If he does something this year, hey, I'll give you your flowers. You are a superstar. But if they don't, I'm gonna keep where I'm at. Not a superstar.
I respect it.
All right, and the last guy, and it's crazy. This is a conversation, but Jason Tatum.
Yeah, superstar. If Donovan Mitchell's a superstar in my eyes, Jason Tatum's a superstar in my eyes.
Okay, yeah.
It's just he sells a little too much for my liking. He's had one too many good teams, but with how talented of a player he is, it's kind of impossible to say no, even if he
Mhm.
doesn't get like all the success to go with it. Like we'll say Karl Malone's a superstar. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a multiple time MVP. It just couldn't win the big ones. It's just like that's kind of the same thing with Jason Tatum is at the moment. I'd like for him to get MVP at some point, but he performs. I do. I remember seeing young Tatum against like LeBron in the playoffs, and like he was
Oh
like
my
stuffing him. I'm like,
goodness.
oh my god, Jason Tatum. Like he has been moving the needle for the longest time, and he will always be a superstar. He's not someone who's like, oh, he needs to prove it this series. I think he just needs to more get the accolades. But Jason Tatum will, for the longest time, be at least bare minimum top 10 player in the league.
I agree. I had Tatum as a superstar. The thing is, Tatum shouldn't even really be a conversation. But the reason why it's a conversation is because of how wishy-washy he ends up being sometimes. And he has aura. Let's get that out the way. Tatum has a lot of aura. Like, he has a lot of fans. I think he's one of the highest jersey selling guys in the league. Like, he has aura. The numbers back him up. He's a great player, all that. I think the only thing that holds people back is he just has this wishy-washy tendency about him, and he hasn't won the big dance. He's been to the big dance, but he hasn't won the big dance. And that's fine. Again, he's not like crazy old, but he's performing the playoffs most of the time. Obviously, there's like some series you could be like, whoa, buddy. That Warriors series, unless he wins a championship, that Warriors series will always stick with him. You know, I'm not going to call it that LeBron 2011 Maverick series because that's a different story. But I think for Tatum to really like have people say, yes, he's a superstar, he's probably got to do a little bit more, win some things, win an accolade. It's going to be hard for him to win accolades too. But, you know, win a championship.
Yeah.
So people are more like sure about you. I'm pretty sure about him being a superstar, but here's the other thing I'll say. It's kind of hard to argue the best player, the best small forward in the league isn't a superstar.
Yeah.
Right? So, because if I'm going to take Tatum as the best small forward in the league, I can't say
over LeBron.
Exactly. I can't say he's not a superstar. So, yeah, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, just off talent-wise alone. You just got to watch a team and realize, like, oh, this guy's different.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's going to be, if I'm correct, that's all the superstars we're going to debate today, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have like one more in mind if you really wanted to do another one.
Let's go in. We were quick with Jokic and Giannis.
Yeah, that's true. How about Devin Booker? What do you think about Devin Booker?
Man, he led that Suns team to the finals, and he still evolved his game. He's a great passer, and like he can still get a bucket when it's needed. I'm gonna say yes. I think I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Oh man, that's actually harder. Okay, Donovan Mitchell's a star. Devin Booker's a star in my eyes. I'm not gonna backtrack. Devin Booker, very versatile scorer, has kept evolving his game, and it's like Jason. Like you can like I'm not saying they're the same like the same type of players, but Devin Booker kind of has the same story as Jason Tatum, where like they made it to the big dance, they just weren't able to get it done, but they still keep hooping like on consecutive, or that's not the word I'm looking for. They keep hooping on a consistent basis.
Yeah,
and it's just. Again, I think Tatum's better than Booker, but they both kind of have the same story at the moment. So I have to say Devin Booker's a star as well.
I'm going to agree. I think the difference between him and Mitchell, while they've both been putting up numbers consistently and all that, one, Devin Booker has been to the big dance, you know, which is, hey, that's going to give him a plus there because at least he's made it to the finals and he led that team to the finals. And only gripe with Booker is his elimination game resume is a bit suspect. And that's a big thing because to be a superstar, you got to be good in elimination games.
But he did bag a Jenner. That's
okay.
That's aura. That's aura if we've ever seen it.
And I was gonna say he has a lot of haters, but Devin Booker do got some aura.
Yeah,
that boy got aura. Yeah, he got aura. But I'll give him the superstar tag. I think maybe this is a spoiler, but he's probably the best two guard in the league. Again, it's hard to say if you're the best player at your position, you're not a superstar. So
yeah, that's so real. Well, now we are going to move on. That was a fun one to debate. That was a hard one to think about, especially like with Ant Mitchell. Like I was thinking for a while before we got on this. Thank you so much for tuning into this segment of the 5 Out Podcast. I am Joey LeMaster, and me and Everton are so thankful for your guys' support. If you want to keep supporting us, please check out the full podcast on Spotify and follow our TikTok account. Both of those will be in the bio, and make sure to leave a like and stay smooth.